The flesh. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
What can I get you?
Usually it's my usual, and she usually has it ready because I'm usually late.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
It's a PB and BRHC on a roll.
Okay, so PB would be peanut butter, I'm
Yes,
saying?
BR, bananas, raisins, H, honey, C, cheese on a roll.
Aren't you blessed with a fast metabolism? What, you running a marathon or something? You know, my sister ran a marathon once, God rest her soul. She's not dead, she's just exhausted.
For the record, I think this is insane.
This is Film Sack.
Yep.
Insane.
Oh, sure.
Hello, and welcome to Film Sack. This is Film Sack, mining the very depths of film entertainment for all mankind, episode... I didn't write it down. 618. I'm Scott Johnson, joined today by Brian. He's far too chill about all those babies falling from 60 floors Dunaway.
It's fine. Microwave baby. Oh, hi. This week on Film Sack, we flash over to The Max when we hear that this modern 2023 action-adventure DC superhero movie is colliding with superhero movies of the past like some sort of chrono bowl of spaghetti metaphors covered in splashy CGI cans of tomato sauce tears and shoved into our coliseum of superglued mouth teeth. Are you not entertained? No, me neither. Anywho, if you're still lost on how time travel works in movies and even further confused about how this relates to a DC multiverse, well, let me see if I can use my Gen X powers of irony and sarcasm to explain it in terms that my generation can understand that doesn't involve Americanized Italian foods. Okay, time isn't linear. If you go back in time and try to return that copy of Tim Burton's Batman to Blockbuster in 1992 before your mom dies from a late fee related conniption fit, and in your haste you forget to be kind and rewind that videotape, which creates a ripple effect that casts Mel Gibson as Batman, and now you have an aged Mel Gibson reprising his role as Batman in 2023, and he eats Ezra Miller's Jewish half on set, creating the biggest actor controversy to date. Well, not every problem has a solution. Randy? I know I'm just random lady in a store, but do you need a hug?
Oh, man. That was some beefy business there at the end. You really peeled that out at the end. That was great. Also with us, Randy, 2008 called and would like its PS3 graphics back. Jordan.
Aloha, Scott. Brian. Boys, listen up. I need to break some bad news to you, so I'm going to just rip the Band-Aid off real quick. You're not the only person who does your job in every alternate universe, okay? In fact, there are universes where Brian Dunaway does Tom Merritt's job and Brian Ibbott is in prison for a crime you didn't commit. You get the So be glad you happen to be in this universe and try to not think too much about how many universes there are where Scott is a muscular, hunky sweat bucket who appeared on the season of The Bachelor that had the most girl fights.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson.
You're going to get through your time travel as long as you follow these 3 obvious rules. Number 1, don't say to someone, I know what the butterfly effect is, and then go back in time and crank out a huge butterfly-shaped turd and expect it to have no effect. You dummy. Number 2, when you meet yourself in the past, try not to act on any sexual tension. I mean, yes, it's you, but also it's ew. Number 3. Number 3. And this goes without saying, I think. Just put everything back the way you found it. Yeah. You don't have to set your dad free from prison by accidentally making your best friend into someone else. You just reverse all the tampering and then return to the present, and you go hire the peacemaker to bust your dad out of prison like God intended. Thank you.
Man.
Yes. Would have loved that that version of this movie.
Yeah, a little crossover that would have worked. I would have liked that. With us finally, Brian. He finds Zod very, very odd. Ibbott.
Oh, don't we all? All right, let's cue up the Queen song that you're all expecting. Nah, just kidding. It's something else.
Oh my gosh.
Kookaburra song, copyright free.
Yep.
hanging out in a Flashpoint party, arguing over who played the role of Marty. I met a strange Bruce Wayne. He looked like Gandalf. He was all gung-ho to give me the send-off. And he said, I come from a different timeline, when your mother lived and changed my bloodline to look the same as I did in your time. It's all because you changed things when you were 9. White Claw with a girl from Krypton who came to Earth to find her cousin all gone. I said, ma'am, I have to wonder why there's no skirt and your hair's not blonder. She said, oh, I come from a different timeline, when your mother lived and changed my bloodline to look the same as I did in your time. It's all because you changed things when you were 9. There you go. My apologies
That
to
was
Colin Hay and
beautiful.
company.
Yeah, it's funny because that song has got its own history of controversies about copyright and everything. So it's a great cover. That was amazing. Holy crap! We're starting to have people. All they want to talk about is Brian's songs. That's all they want to talk about.
Agreed.
And it's fine.
I want the
I'm gonna spin off
mixtape.
My own podcast. It's called Film Sack Karaoke.
There you go.
Right. So you thought you saw this movie, Film Sack Karaoke.
You really should, though. At some point, we ought to put out a compilation for everybody, and
Yep.
we'll do some special album art. We'll sell it.
There we go.
Make a little scratch.
I'd have to figure out. I mean, copyright does
that's a good
protect
point.
parody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is parody.
Parody is totally protected by copyright. So
Yeah, you're
there
100%.
might be something to that.
But is it parody when it sounds so good? I don't think so.
Yeah, we got
Does it?
we got a quality problem. We got to fix that.
I did have to change a vocal where I was like trying to do the super high vocal that Colin Hay does in that song. Like, nope, we're taking that out. I'm just gonna
going down. He goes high, I go
I'm
low.
gonna redo the same pairing for the chorus that I did in the first one.
Well, the good news is, everyone, we watched The Flash, and it's barely out of theaters and into our lives. And we have not real Scott Fletcher here to explain a little more about this film. Take it away.
The Flash Barry Allen is struck by a bolt of lightning, and thus an extraordinary power is born inside him, the Speed Force. When he uses this power to run back in time and save his mother, he creates a world without heroes. And General Zod has returned. To defeat him, his only hope rests in the hands of a retired Batman, another Barry, and an imprisoned Kryptonian.
It really runs out of steam at the end.
It totally does.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, was it the beginning
That's about
supposed
how
to
I
be
felt
like
with this
the
movie, actually.
Flash?
I don't know. I didn't put. So
yeah.
what's funny is when I put in the prompt, all I put is the Flash and exclamation points, and it put in
Oh,
The Flash
exclamation.
yeah,
So was
it put in that itself.
It wasn't
I
even
didn't
the
do it.
Queen.
Yeah, I mean maybe that is what it's doing, but I didn't
Can
tell
I
it
hear
to.
one more time?
Yeah, here you go.
The Flash
The Flash.
It's like a question. It's like,
It's really weird. I don't understand this thing, but as soon as I generated it, I went, oh, that's a keeper. Download it. We're good.
Yeah.
for sure.
Anyway, it is The Flash, directed by Andy Muschietti, known mostly for horror movies. In fact, I think that's all he's known for.
And known for his cameo eating a hot dog. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that was
Andy
him? I didn't know that was
Muschietti.
him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Muschietti?
Isn't he
I still say the first It is so underrated. Like I just
so
can't
good.
say enough
That is?
about
Oh.
good
Yeah.
that first part is.
First It was good. Second It, first It better, but whatever.
Yeah.
I like both. Why not both?
He helped produce that Lock and Key series. You know,
Yes,
it's got
that
his
was good.
got his hands in a lot of horror stuff. And it's funny.
I don't like how you said that.
Horror. Let me get that out right. Got his
What
hands
kind of
in a
stuff?
lot
He has
of
his hand in
horrors.
some horror stuff.
Horror stuff.
Right.
But like you've got decent writers here: Jonathan Goldstein, Christina Hodson, John Francis Daly.
Goldstein was out by this point, though, right? They started to give him credit, but I think he walked away
Did he
from
bail?
creative differences at this point. Yeah,
Oh,
so I
okay.
wouldn't say that maybe this is his final work.
John Francis Daly had a recent, I think, at least writing hit, if not financial hit, because I didn't do that well in theaters. But I thought the D&D movie was pretty great, and he was
I loved
a creator writer of that.
You should watch that instead.
He wrote the last Spider-Man or last two 2 Spider-Man movies, maybe even 3 of them. Can't remember. And you know what? This movie reminded me a lot of, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and please let me have it for this because I'm willing to take all comers here, but this felt a lot like the third Spider-Man movie, which I didn't love compared to the rest of the Spider-Man movies.
It has a lot of parallels running to the Spider-Man movies.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
The same issues and a lot of issues that I give on this film are issues I had with No Way Home as well, unfortunately.
Right. Can I say first up top before getting any further? I kind of like this movie.
Oh, really? Wow.
But I don't think that's an unpopular opinion because I think it's 6.8 on IMDb. The Rotten Tomatoes isn't that bad considering.
I didn't hate it.
Kinda is there's such a big wide swath of gray area in the word kinda. Right? Like did I like this movie more than getting a root canal? Yeah.
I like this. Oh, let me put it this way. If I could have used more Batman. This felt like I was getting the fact that I got a new Batman movie. I was pretty happy because that's all I saw.
For me, it was impossible to deny the nostalgia I was feeling for Michael Keaton. He's also the best actor in the film, and whenever he's on screen, there's just something about the dude, which is hilarious. Because when I was younger, I didn't like Michael Keaton as Batman. I thought it was dumb when it was happening in real time.
Yes,
but as time has gone by, I have nothing but fond feelings for him and that role. So having him being able to ape around like this, do it at 71, have some fun with it, kind of do some badass shit.
Stand on the side at 71 while Stuntman does your job.
Yeah, it does most of your stuff.
Convinced me. I was in.
Yeah, it's enough for me. Like what it really made me want is what's that DC graphic novel that Alex what's his name does? Oh shit,
Alex Ross.
Alex Ross. Yeah, what's the name of that? Where they're all old. Everybody's super old.
It's
Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
If they did a Kingdom Come adaptation, there is no reason not to just use him, because you need an old, semi-crippled because he beat the shit out of himself. Batman. Michael Keaton's right there, ready for you. Let's go.
Yeah, he's already been the Vulture. Why not?
Yeah,
bring him in.
True. This guy
and Birdman too. Sure.
Yeah, Birdman.
That's true. That's funny. He's the most spread around actor for different heroes in the whole film. Everybody else is either first time as a thing or a holdover from the Snyderverse or whatever. But anyway, I just for me he was a highlight of the movie, but he was also part of the problem, which was just too many things. It's like, hey, what if we just did all the things and this was just like a giant fan service nightmare.
Yes. So much fan service. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and that is kind of the problem I had with all the different Peter Parkers. I loved the nostalgia aspect of seeing the different Peter Parkers in No Way Home, but seeing the different Batmen in this film, seeing the different Supermen in this film, Supergirl, of course. I think she's excellent, by the way. I'd argue that Sasha Kaya is as good in this film as Michael Keaton, and if there's anyone who deserves to continue, exactly. If there's anyone who deserves to continue in the Gunniverse, it would be Sasha Kaya. I think
that'd be cool. I don't think he said anything, but that'd be awesome. And I haven't heard anybody disagree with that consensus. I think people would love to see her continue on, and she's even underused here. It's just not enough.
Yeah,
and and again, it's because you've got a 2-hour film and you're trying to do 15 different major crossovers. Right. I just don't know how.
Well, you're Wonder Woman in. You got to pull, Gal Gadot in. You got to pull in, or Gal Gadot. You got to pull in
Batfleck.
Batfleck. You got to pull in.
I like Batfleck.
I mean, people, if you haven't seen The Flash, go see it. But we're gonna spoil that. You get your Clooney.
You get a little Clooney at the end, very shortly.
Which apparently wasn't in the original theatrical cut.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
well, that's what you get for putting the tomatoes on the top shelf. I was like, dude, you just had a whole movie.
Wait a minute. Why wouldn't they put him in the that seems like a bad move. Why only at home? That makes no sense to me. Why wouldn't they put him in the theater?
They added him to later theatrical cuts, but apparently the initial release of the film didn't. You basically got Clooney's voice, but you never actually saw him.
Oh, okay. So I like the fact that it was going to be. Well, you wouldn't have. I mean, I don't know if I would have really recognized Clooney doing his Batman if they hadn't like,
I
given
wouldn't
me a
have
clue.
if I hadn't seen him. But I do love
Yeah.
the fact that, you know, Flash is such an F up that he deserves to get stuck in the Schumacher verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he's at. He's
Yeah.
not stuck in anything but the version of the world where we got Schumacher movies, which is the one we
Exactly.
live
It's
in,
like-
which sucks. It's not
Exactly.
great.
It's like, oh, I've learned my lesson about changing time, going back and changing things, but I'm going to make this one change to save my
One
dad.
little.
Oh, crap. I'm stuck in the Schumacher verse.
that whole final bit is that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode where
Yeah,
Homer
yeah.
keeps screwing up with the toaster and going back in time and changing things, and by the end. By the end, they all eat donuts with crazy.
Close enough.
Yeah, and he says
Right.
close enough. That's what the end is it's close enough.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, there's so much of that stuff that I usually don't like, and I'm sure this breaks. Well, I know it does because I've heard you talk about it. But this breaks about 50 Ibit time loop problems.
I like that they kept reminding us that it's okay to not try to work the problem. Just let it go. Just it's okay.
I can't do it. I can't shut my
can't do
brain
it?
off that much because I can't say, all right, so you go back. What did we fit like 15 years? He went back and
On the wooden
saved his
spoon.
mom, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But Back to the Future was 85. I mean, okay, here's their dumb explanation. Time is like spaghetti, and you change, you know, basically you're a fulcrum, and instead of changing just the things in forward from where you change it, it goes back and changes everything.
And it creates a multiverse, not just a branch path, but a true multiverse.
No,
well, yeah. I know. This is movie logic. Yeah.
Bad movie logic.
But yes,
Yeah.
bad movie logic. But I mean, it is so like, hey, hand wavy explained away as, no, you stay in the same point, but then time moves around you and creates a new future and a new past. Right. So it changes like what Bruce Wayne looks like. His parents, you know, did they change too? Did, you know,
right?
How far back does it go? Does it go all the way back to?
That's the question, right? How much in his lineage did he change? How much genetic lineage changed over time? You know, who in the past made the move to get rich? Maybe it was somebody else and they moved into that house, and it still happened to the same people because of their circumstances.
Well,
I still don't
fated.
like it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But
and it hurts my brain. And I had the same complaint about the different Peter Parkers. Is like, all right, so we know you all have different Aunt Mays, and so you presumably have different Mary and John Parker parents. And then, were the grandparents different? Like, did mom sleep around? And it really, that's where the multiverse split off is like, oh, well, mom had
I will
this.
accept your lame ass excuse if the excuse is to get Michael Keaton on screen. I'll accept your stupid ass excuse.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. Like, it's a good time. I'm not going to say that I didn't have some fun. Like, I don't think this is a great movie, but I don't think it's any worse than, other average superhero movies. And there are plenty of them, and Marvel's got them too. It's like sometimes they just kind of wing it. I hear I haven't seen it yet, but the new Ant-Man and Wasp one gets a lot of the same criticisms. I thought that the recent Doctor Strange. You know what it is? It's this multiverse shit. When are we going to be done doing this? Because I feel like there's too many temptations to go, what if we brought back...
We're in it now. We've moved into it.
Avengers movies to clear up the MCU multiverse issue.
I hope they can do it, because right now it just feels like too much, and it's too much
multiverse. I mean, the Ant-Man Quantumania thing wasn't even a problem with the multiverse, because they just go down into the quantum realm.
Oh, right.
They've got it's really the Kang stuff, and the Kang stuff I thought was explained so well in Loki and set up so well in Loki, and that of course continues on in Quantumania. But it is like the Doctor Strange thing, and more specifically the No Way Home thing.
Yeah.
You know where they do it well though, and they do it just fine, and nobody complains about it, is Into the Spider-Verse. You've got all the different multiverses colliding, and there, instead of it being fulcrums, you've got canon points.
Canon events.
Canon events.
Yeah.
And And that I think is, my uncle hates it, but I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that. And it's a good way to say that, yeah, Bruce Wayne's parents are always going to get murdered. Uncle Ben is always going to die. And it's always going to be somehow tied to Peter Parker's fault. And it's always going to put him on the hero's trail.
Yeah.
Even if it's an Indian Ben Parker or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not just fulcrum in this. They went on to explain that there was also inevitabilities that happen on the line.
Yeah.
So the things weave in and out, but points they touch.
Yeah, it's their version of it. But the thing is, though, like, I wrote this down. I'm glad you brought it up. I think animation helps you get away with things, and it's an odd thing. Not that the concept, you could have done this in live action, but why would it be different? And I don't know why this is, but it feels like whenever I see something animated, you get away with more. And it's not because I don't think it's because people go. I don't know why it is actually. I don't know why I make
I think
distinction.
One of the reasons. I actually thought about this too, Scott, and I think one of the reasons is, which may explain some of the bad CG in the Flash movie. In animation, you can make the character look like anything you basically want to, as long as the story is consistent. They can be in any of those verses, but we don't have to worry about what we see visually. But they ran into a problem here in the Flash because they really bit off more than they could chew with trying to bring in every freaking body, like realistic people that are not alive anymore or have aged out. And I mean, you're not talking about just aging a few people.
Never technically played
Nick Cage. They use Nick Cage's image.
Yeah, all we have from that Nick Cage stuff is his
that photo.
Well, photo, but there's some footage too of him doing some stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's nothing more than that. And they put him in this scenario where he kills a big ass bug, and it's actually kind
which
of
apparently was
awesome.
in that movie. Was going to be in that Nick Cage movie. Was that fight with the giant spider? So they pulled that whole thing from.
They did. They put it all together. It was crazy.
Yeah. They even gave him chest hair. But my biggest problem with all of that stuff is that it really, like, I went into this movie with the knowledge that everybody said the CG was some of the worst they'd seen in a long time, and I went in with an open mind, and I said, you know what, I'm willing to take some. It's okay if it's not great. I'm okay. I'm going to see how this looks. No, it really is bad.
It's not the problem is that it's distractingly bad.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't even think it's bad. I kind of related to what you would see in video game. But once again, like Scott said, I went in with the same impression. I already knew that the CG was going to be, stylized, and so it didn't affect me at all.
Yeah, but stylized and with it's just no style.
It's
just
feeling cheap, like the Chrono Bowl stuff. And we
the
Chrono Bowl.
Oh, the Chrono Bowl Coliseum.
Yeah.
But the Chrono Bowl stuff with like all the different variants of his day, everything just looks so plastic and fake.
Yeah. They really went, because it was like I said, they were really shooting for this guy.
It? Are you really?
They were really shooting for this guy. No, I'm only defending it in the fact that there's a reality. Okay, so there was nobody like slacking off. If anybody's thinking, they just didn't try hard enough. No, nobody was slacking off. In order to meet what they needed to do, this is what had to happen. This is a product of what had to happen, in my opinion.
Maybe. I don't know. There was a lot of repeating going on, so I don't think it was all that much work. Like, I don't mean there was no work, but if you're gonna have a globe where,
did you see the number of special? Did you watch the credits? Did you see the number?
No, it was a ton. It was a lot.
God,
it was a lot. But what I'm saying is, if you've got
how many thousands of people,
you got a big old globe, and you got George Reeves standing there turning at the same time. You repeat that 500 times. That isn't the hard work. The hard work is the one time.
Oh, absolutely.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if you maybe scale back on your plan, then I guess what I'm saying is this thing bit off more than it could chew, and if it didn't have the budget to go crazy with the effects, then don't do them or animate it.
And it's also a thing of like, when you make if you're cooking a really fancy meal, you don't put every crazy ingredient in there. You don't put, I'm going to do saffron, and I'm going to do truffle oil, and I'm going to do broccolini, and I'm going to do, and all these.
Randy, is that true? I'm going to refer to our local.
Well, wait till I finish my. Because I do want to know if Randy agrees. You do one thing, and then that like that spice is like, oh wow, I totally taste that one thing. If they would have just done, I mean, let's obviously, you need Keaton in this thing, but maybe just doing a little Christopher Reeve cameo, or
so you're saying it should have been as bland as Michael Keaton's spaghetti, is what you're saying?
I'm saying it was really like, who eats spaghetti without any? Well, I guess you'd have sauce anyway, but no, the making it like, hey, here's Cage, oh, and here's Clooney, oh, and here's Christopher Reeve, and here's Slater, Helen Slater, and here's this and that and that. It's almost too much. Like having one of those would have been like, oh wow, I can't believe they did that. But then after the third or fourth one, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, Reeves. Right,
I can't figure out if just the whole idea of a multiverse in itself, in the story they wanted to tell, was needed to be so big. I don't know how you could have told the story any other way.
Well, I don't know. Have any of the three of you read Flashpoint? I haven't.
I've read a little bit of it, but I didn't.
I've seen the animation.
Did you watch the
DC
animation?
thing is very good. Yeah, I was going to recommend that today. Brandy, have you seen read or seen any of that? No.
Right.
Yeah, Flashpoint.
So maybe that's the, maybe sticking closer, because I'm sure Flashpoint, I mean, obviously Flashpoint didn't say, by the way, there's a multiverse where Adam West or Bruce Wayne looks like Adam West, and a multiverse where Superman looks like Chris Reeves. But I mean, obviously with that stuff, it's kind of like the animation thing. You can make the Superman always look like Superman. You can make the Batman, Bruce Wayne, always look like Bruce Wayne and not have to worry about that.
Yeah, if you did it the way that it would probably work, let's just assume a multiverse was possible in this scenario. What it wouldn't be is famous people adapting the character. It wouldn't be, Christopher Reeve standing there with what's her name. It wouldn't be George Reeves in black and white. It wouldn't be that old Flash guy. Those are all things that are in our universe where we've created versions of these things for entertainment purposes. What those things would be in a more realistic story, if that's even a thing the word you can use, is they would just be a bunch
visual
of
storytelling. Oh, go ahead.
There'd be a bunch of people, or there'd be a bunch of Bruce Waynes or a bunch of Clark Kents who may look different from each other, but they're not Nicolas Cage. They're not, like they're just doing that for us to go, and I feel manipulated.
That's what I want. Thank you for my Thank you.
I don't want that. I don't want it, because what I feel like it's manipulating me. Whereas like Spider-Verse, that's another reason Spider-Verse gets away with it a little bit more, because Spider-Verse does a bunch of stuff in addition to some of those, like the live action Uncle Ben bit, the what'd you call it? The not their Fulcrum canon event. They show the live action one there. This is a bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen that movie. But some of those notwithstanding, most of what we see is creative new ideas. Like, whoa, Spider-Punk, the one in London, holy shit, that's a different take. It's not a guy we saw in a movie when we were kids. It's a different take.
Because the multiverse pulls more from it doesn't pull from the other movies as much, whereas this did almost exclusively pull from the movies, right? I mean, I don't think it was very much from the comic.
No, 100%. I don't think there was anything that wasn't that.
Right.
Yeah, because I think it's but you also mean like storyline, right? Like I'm assuming Flashpoint is all time travel and not really multiverse. It's basically Barry goes back, changes his mom's survival, and it changes everything in the future.
Correct. It's way more focused on that. Yes.
Creating these, I've created new pasts and new this and new that.
Yeah. And it's a much simpler story, but it's also very good. I would recommend it, especially the animated thing. It's quite good.
Yeah. That seems like a good way to digest it too.
Yeah. And this was supposedly based on let's see, back in I had some trivia on this. Oh yeah, here it is. At San Diego Comic-Con 2017, it was announced that this film would be a loose adaptation of the Flashpoint storyline, and it's exactly that. It's a very loose adaptation.
Yeah, because you're trying to introduce the multiverse using a story that's not necessarily multiverse centric; it's more time travel centric, from what I understand, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just glad to see Jeremy Irons back as Alfred Pennyworth.
For a hot second.
Good seeing him. Michael Shannon less happy to be back as Zod. Because there was an interview.
I love it.
There's an interview where he's like, You guys did see Man of Steel, right? You saw he broke my neck. I died.
What is this multiverse?
Yeah,
It made me like him more when I read that.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
So that's such a great character.
By far, my favorite was Boba Fett as not really Aquaman. Not at all Aquaman in this version.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
so
that
good.
was great. Yeah, I forgot about him being in there. That was that was an odd moment. But again, like the fan service was going to work on different levels for people, and I don't want to take that away from people. If they were whoa, I can't believe it, and they're pointing at the screen and freaking out, great. But for me, it was just like too many.
Yeah,
like
interesting.
Maybe the Michael Keaton's all I needed. I didn't need all the
right.
Maybe.
Well, it was not too many for me, man. I just like keep feeding this. Open my mouth with a tool and pour the fan service right in.
Yes, please.
I could not get enough of all of these references and weird considerations, and I'm just like, what? Let's refer to the comics. Let's have him have Azrael instead of Batman, and John Paul Valley is in here. I just keep going. Give me all you can.
Yeah, I guess if they would have had they gone ridiculous with it, which is again, I think part of what makes Spider-Verse rad is that they go, it's unending. It's so many. It's so many you don't notice them. It's people later with like screenshots pointing out that there's a spider hose way back in the background or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're you either go all in or you go very little. It's when you're in the middle that I struggle, because it just feels like and I almost can hear the directors and writers going
nudge.
Although did you catch that?
Yeah, you like it?
George Clooney, no one liked that movie, but we brought him back.
It's kind of funny because parts they would do that, in other parts they kept repeating Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future, which I don't know. I was trying to think, do a lot of people? I was watching this with Audra, and so I don't think she was catching a lot of that kind of stuff. Even the one that was being shoved down our throats. That there was a time where Eric Stoltz did a lot.
No, he filmed most of the movie. Most of the movie was done, and they changed course and got rid of him.
Yeah. And so she doesn't know that. And so they kept referring to, I was like, this got to be annoying that they keep referring to that.
But no, I think that's really important. Like they said it enough that it got me into a place where I was ready for Nick Cage as Superman, right? Like I was like,
you weren't shocked.
Oh, that's a good point.
It makes total sense.
Yeah,
that there are, at least in Barry Allen's work, right? As he goes back in time and so forth, because that's all he can do. He can only affect things that happened around him, I guess. He can't like go back in time and also to China. He can only like go back in time to his hometown or something.
Right.
But like it's like that made a lot of sense to me because I was set up for it. You know, I wouldn't have reacted as well as and by the way, this is my favorite movie I've seen in forever. Nice. Ezra Miller was I want Ezra Miller nominated for Oscars. What a performance!
Are you okay? I just want to make sure you're okay. You don't smell. You don't smell toast or anything. You're good.
Multiverse.
No, I'm with. I can totally feel what Randy's saying.
I'm having a hard time. Like I've just been sitting here listening to you, and I'm glad. Like you know, get your yayas out. But like for me, this movie was so amazing, and it's the fact that, like, you know, it's like there's this cliche about made you laugh, made you cry. This movie made me laugh out loud so much, and then near the end, I had to like stop. I had to walk out of the room and collect myself. I was crying so hard, and it's all because of Ezra Miller. I just can't get over it. Like I went into this movie asking the question, I wonder why they stuck with this guy. Like it's so there's so much that there's so much reason they could have put on the brakes and recast, right? There's other actors out there that could have played the role. And then I watched the movie and I'm like, oh, wow. I see why they stuck with Ezra Miller. Like, what a performance. Like,
well, he makes me laugh for sure. Like I don't, I'm never going to get this right. Apologies to everybody.
Okay. We're going to mess this up a bunch of times. For those not knowing, Ezra Miller.
Go ahead, Brent.
I was going to say Ezra Miller prefers to be called they, so that's fine.
Good news. Played two characters, so
I was going to say that's what makes it easy. Is you think about the old Flash and young Flash, it's like, oh well, then they work as a they. So
they were good at being the Flash, and I would say this was true in the Snyder stuff as well. Like there was the only comedy in the Snyder stuff. That was thing bereft of comedy. Those movies, and it never been my problem with any of this. In fact, it was easy for me to just block out all the real life, on set issues and the arrest and all that other crap. It was easy for me to forget about all of that because it just seemed like they were all in on the roll.
Yeah, and plus we're kind of in a place where we're in 2023 right now. Ezra Miller only has accusations and a few things that have been proven. So I'm sure in 10 years we'll have to look back.
As we're recording, there haven't been any new incidents in over a year.
Yeah, and he says he's getting help. Right,
it's a good sign, I think.
Yeah. We're not defending. We're just saying this is where we're at.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't even know really the what they were accused of or what the problems were.
You are the better. You are the better of us because it's all garbage. It all sucks. Everything about it sucks, and I would rather not know myself. I wish I didn't know.
It goes beyond accused. Ezra Miller, for instance, pleaded no contest to a bunch of crimes.
There's a few things,
and was
none of the worst. He hasn't admitted to the worst of the accusations. What I would think I was saying,
but my point is this movie actually moved the needle for me a lot, and I'm not sure I like that aspect of it. I love the movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I want to feel what I felt watching this movie, but I still have these two very conflicted thoughts. On the one hand, Ezra Miller is the perfect example of someone where we should cut bait. We as Hollywood, we as filmmakers, we as audiences and so forth, right? There's definitely a point where you're like, okay, I've gotten enough signs that this is not someone to support, right?
Right.
But then on the other hand, you're like, well, there's people still supporting Ezra Miller, really supporting Ezra Miller. Why? There must be reasons. There must be things like they understand that a lot of this acting out has come from a place of mental illness, blah, blah, blah. They're willing to pay Ezra Miller millions of dollars to perform this role when they don't have to. I need to find out why. And the answer is, wow, what a performance. I really, by the second half of this movie, I was forgetting that it was one person playing these two roles. I was like,
no, that was actually an second actor. Yeah, go ahead.
It's one thing to play twins, right? And it's another thing to play dark and light versions of a character. But this was very similar but different. And I really genuinely felt it. I felt Ezra Miller's prowess as an actor, and making this film at 28, 29 is really impressive. The prowess of making these two characters be almost the same person but different, and I really noticed that blew my mind.
I'll give you guys full credit there. I was just going to add to that. I think that it's hard to play two characters and have you not be distracted by that all movie long. That's usually how I am. At first, I was like, "Oh boy, here we go. We're gonna have two of you, and I'm gonna have to pretend it's not the same actor, and there aren't really good split screen tech today, and blah blah blah. You have to think about all this." And then they nailed it. I will give you that. That is one, and because by the end of the movie, I'm not even thinking about the fact that Ezra Miller has two credits.
Did you guys watch the behind the scenes stuff?
No.
No.
Okay. So the split screen thing, I was really curious about. I was like, wow, they've really done something that I have never seen. They really convinced me there were two actors on screen, and it wasn't just a split screen. It wasn't a split screen. There were two actors. There was an actor wearing a rig that is very similar. He's a body double for Ezra Miller. And he looks very similar to Ezra Miller, and he moves a lot like him. In most of the body shots, you're seeing his actions. And there's this rig they wear where they were capable of replacing his head with Ezra Miller. It's a really fascinating technology.
Yeah, but that's in all the moments where they had to do crazy action that required them to be in the same
interact,
occupying
Or
the same
just like
space.
sitting in the back.
Oh, almost. But no, even when they're doing so one of the things that actors have to do with green screen and when they're doing split screen is they have to act with themselves. No, this actor is going around and saying all the other parts. They're
Saying
just not recording it. So
Ezra
there's
Sutherland
actually a
line,
character. There's actually an actor he's acting against.
No,
It's
I get
really
that, but
good.
what I'm saying is when they're cutting from one to the other, not anything where they had to do the magic of we're in the same space, but when they're cutting to one another, they're just too. It's him. Sorry, them.
Well, I
doing
mean,
the, doing the thing.
sort of, kind of. Like I said, it's complicated.
Because if you're gonna do a single shot of young Barry Allen,
right,
who's kind of a stoner idiot,
right,
and you're gonna have him just looking at the
hold on.
camera by himself, they're not gonna bother to have a rig for that. They're just gonna turn the camera on Ezra Miller and have him film.
You would be there's always if there is another actor in the room when they're filming it, there's always two actors on.
Well, that's what I mean. Because there's times when they don't, like when you cut a camera and there's only one person in the frame.
So you're saying that Ezra Miller is doing a good job of acting like a goofball and a serious person, like two different people have been affected two different ways.
Yeah, well, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because there are scenes when one of them is being filmed and talking straight to the camera with nothing else on camera but them.
Right. You're talking about performance. And I think I'm more talking about technique.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
To
there's
Randy's
no reason
point,
they couldn't have had an actor that they were acting against for those lines just to make it so that it didn't feel like I'm just talking into the void. I'm talking to a version of me that's not there. They probably still did have an actor, feeding back lines. So it was.
I think that's standard. You'd have to
but I mean,
have to,
but there's, like I said, it's a hybrid of this individual you're seeing. They're not just replacing the individual. They're only replacing parts of the individual doing the performance.
You're basically saying they're putting a CGI head on somebody's body. Is that what you're saying?
For the most part, yeah. And that's what I think when I think of an actor performing. I also think of, since I like a lot of Muppets and puppets kind of movies. You get a lot of physical things, physical acting that's going on. And so Ezra Miller didn't necessarily have to do those physical acting parts because someone was already doing them. They didn't refilm those physical parts. That's what I was really impressed by, was that the fact there was this other actor. God, I can't find his stupid name because I want to give this guy credit because he's in the movie as much as Ezra Miller, doing body performative things that are freaking amazing.
There's a lot of uncredited people. In the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me. It's that's interesting, Randy. I'm glad you shared that perspective. I didn't expect any of us to rave about it.
I'll say one. I want to say one more thing. This Barry Allen is on the spectrum, and this is how Ezra Miller has developed this character. Now, I mean, yes, there are a lot of other people sort of holding on to the steering wheel, right? Like you don't have a young actor come along and just dictate to people who are running Warner Brothers. But without a doubt, Ezra Miller is the driving force behind the little nuances of this Barry Allen. And it is such a nuanced take, right? Because it could have easily skidded off into, oh, he's just autistic and we're supposed to laugh. And it didn't. It absolutely didn't. The closest it got was the lasso of truth joke, which was really funny.
Yeah.
Laugh out loud, funny.
Yeah, that whole bit was very funny.
Yeah.
And so like another thing that the movie makes really, really clear through performance is that we're not defining some specific part of the spectrum for Barry Allen to be on. He's his own thing. The Flash, I'm saying, is his own thing on the spectrum. And it's so relatable. I was just reading reviews by just viewers, and there are so many reviews for this movie where they're like, I have ADHD and I'm a mama's boy and I can't get over this. Is the first time I've ever felt like this about a character,
right?
And I was really, really impressed with that. And I have to keep saying it because it feels like the answer to the question, how could you even start? How do you get over Ezra Miller's real life stuff and then watch this movie? And the answer is, well, for starters, I guess you just sort of grit your teeth.
Right.
If you're out there and you're like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch it. Ezra Miller has hurt people in real life. That's fine. That's a perfectly good position. And it's totally valid. I'm just saying I personally got right past that point to watch the movie, and then this movie completely changed everything I thought I knew about Ezra Miller, the actor, the performer.
Right.
Don't know why I see that picture you put in there. I see what you're saying. It's when they're on screen at the same time. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Because if you're not on the screen at the same time, you wouldn't bother.
But that's the thing. I mean, they're on screen constantly together. I mean, this
fair amount,
in
but
the
not.
movie.
I wouldn't say constantly, but a fair amount. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I'd say like close to 70% of the movie. That's what they said anyway in the document, in a little back behind the scene thing. So I'm like, yeah, that's most of the
It's
movie.
impressive because that must be where they spent all their special effects money. Because this has got to be one place. This has got to be the one thing, Randy, where you will agree with most of us anyway, that the effects in this movie sucked.
No, I didn't really notice anything that offended me. Because mainly I was going with the way the movie was portraying itself. So like when he uses Speed Force to go into Time Dome, I'm like, this is what, of course, this is like
Chrono Ball.
Someone who has these superpowers. I have no idea what it looks like to them when they're going so fast. So if it looks weird or if it looks like cartoonish, I'm just like, okay, like Star Trek, when the ship jumps to light speed, it looks cartoonish. That's fine. I don't know what that's supposed to look like. So I didn't really like, I would have been, I guess, offended as a viewer if there were really bad special effects on basic stuff, like people punching other people, falling down, this kind of thing. And I thought that was all real tight. Like the fight scene in the desert. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. I really felt like I could follow the action, and I wasn't expecting to, because I'm so used to action. But and like going back to what you were talking about, the difference between comics and live action, One Piece has illustrated this perfectly. I feel like comics do action way better than live action because they can do anything. And I feel like live action does human emotion way better than comics,
right? Because
comics can't. They're stuck in this flat world, right? And like this movie is like my evidence for that. The action could have gone really badly. It didn't. It was good. It was a good fight.
Yeah. I think Randy has said everything was so well that I was feeling, because I didn't. Randy had the bravery.
There's a lot of people too that feel the same way. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sure.
Yeah, I
had not to be one of them, but I think that Randy has said it very well.
Yeah, we got a team Gibbet going on today.
11 days ago, Brian Ibbett came along and said, "This movie sucks," and that helped me because it. Like anything, I mean,
can I lower your expectations, lower the bar a little bit? Yeah.
Best thing you can do for yourself as a consumer of entertainment is get your expectations down,
especially when it comes to a DC movie. Go ahead.
Like my favorite example of that is all year long, middle-aged men have been going with their late teen daughters to see Taylor Swift, and their expectations are practically zero because they haven't cared up until the moment they're in the stadium and they're like, oh my god, this is so great. And it's like, yes, but it was also great whether or not you were there. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like there's an objective greatness.
It's a good point.
Level.
Yeah, and it's also if I'm completely 1000% honest with my own brain, it's hard to go into DC stuff post Nolan, pre-Gun, without some baggage, right?
Yeah, right.
Like I go in expecting, oh boy, DC can never get their shit together. In the same way I look at Marvel animation, it's the same problem. I have the flip bias there because I always think, oh, DC animation.
Exactly. Like you even hearing, Marvel's coming out with a piece of animation that's not part of the Spider-Verse series. Like, I'll probably pass on that. Or what if is another example where they did something great.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a funny thing because you just know in your head that this is going to be problematic, and then you add all the Ezra Miller stuff to it. Then you add all the complaints about CGI before I even saw the thing. Like, it's hard to go into these movies with us and our super nerd, constantly filling our heads with information about what's going on in our nerd world, to not have these biases. And so I am sure I went into this with some of those. I think I came out better than not, though. Like, I liked it more than I thought I was going to hate it. I don't think it's the worst movie It's definitely not the worst DC movie by a long shot.
No.
It made me want to watch DC movies that I haven't watched.
Yeah. What have you not seen? What are you going to do next? What do you want to see?
I've never seen a Batfleck movie. I don't even know.
Wait. Oh wait, not even like Dawn of Justice or Justice League or.
I haven't seen those. I did watch. I did watch the Snyder Cut a little bit. Like I watched long enough into the Snyder Cut to start screaming, "Why are you doing this to a movie? It looks so bad." And then I stopped. So I guess he's in there somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, he's almost in there.
Yes. Yeah. I am not going to apologize for liking Batfleck. As a matter of fact, the beginning of this movie made me want a proper Batfleck movie because him chasing down what's his face, the Falcone.
Yeah.
That whole action scene was. I loved it.
It's pretty good.
Let me just finish answering the question. I did see Wonder Woman 2017. That was a good movie that just failed to stick the landing, but a really good movie. And then I didn't see Wonder Woman 1984. And this made me want to go watch that because Gal Gadot is
I like 84. Yeah. I liked 84.
Hated it. Hated it. Did not like it.
No, it was okay. It was fine.
I have severe distaste for that movie. I don't know why.
Does Superman Returns count? Because I did see that, but that's before all of these.
I don't think Batfleck's in that.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, but
I'm just saying the DCEU things I haven't seen.
Oh, I got you.
I did see Superman Returns, but I haven't seen Man of Steel, for instance. So.
Oh yeah, you should see Man of Steel because Zod is.
So this whole Zod thing was just completely foreign to you, I'm sure.
Yeah, or newish.
You should have said Alien.
Well, I do have a pulse. I know who Zod is, and like as soon as it was revealed that they were busting a woman out of the concrete jail, I realized, that's a Kryptonian, and then that's going to be Batgirl, Batgirl, Supergirl,
right?
And this movie didn't surprise or didn't confuse me ever at all.
Right.
It's just like I saw which one did I see with you guys? Birds of Prey.
Yeah. Did we do Birds of Prey?
No,
Suicide Squad.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, Peacemaker, which is like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. And that's where I put at the top of the DC thing. I think for me, it's Peacemaker. I mean, if you don't count the Nolan Bale Batman, and I can only imagine the laughing that occurred when they said, "Hey, can we put Christian Bale in this movie a little appearance?"
If he had been the final Batman instead of George Clooney, I would have. I don't think it would have made much of a difference though, because that joke is already set, right?
Yeah, but it would have made me feel like, oh well, okay, you're in a good place, Flash of this timeline that you're in good hands here.
And you know what it feels like James Gunn, if he was in charge of this movie, it feels like the final scene, or maybe even the Aquaman stinger at the end, instead of all of that, would just be all of the Bruce Waynes playing cards or something. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Everybody catch the stinger.
Getting shawarma.
Yeah, kind of that idea. Feels like something they would do. Yeah, the stinger was, I mean, whatever. I guess there is an Aquaman movie still coming, so.
I do feel like James Gunn is missing an opportunity to not do a Crisis on Infinite Earths style wrap up on everything that's occurred before his first movie. It would be a great way to say, hey, all that stuff that happened before, wad it up into a paper ball, throw it in the trash. Here's where it starts.
Gonna pull a sketch on that bad boy.
Yeah, because they're saying that the Blue Beetle is going to be part of the James Gunniverse,
right?
Even though he had nothing to do with its creation.
Right.
By the way, one little tidbit for me in my non-knowledge of DCEU, because I watched Peacemaker and The Flash, but I haven't seen Aquaman. For me, Aquaman himself is Jason Momoa showing up at the very end.
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah.
And both Peacemaker and The Flash.
It can
Jason Momoa show up at the very end.
Yeah,
it can stay that. Other than Black Manta, that Aquaman wasn't. I didn't care for it.
I didn't see it. Black Manta's the bad guy in it, right?
Oh, he's so good. Yeah.
Not Black Manta.
Is it not Black Manta?
Hold on.
I thought it was Black Manta.
Black Manta.
In the
Black Manta.
I always think it's
Man. This guy's trying to sing it.
No, I always think it's Mantis. I guess it's Manta. You're right.
No, it's Black Manta.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Because then
Don't make me question my. Don't
please
gaslight me.
create an undersea vessel for me to have my meetings and shape it like my head.
Like my head, yes.
Oh, that's right. The freaking swamp.
The Hall of Doom. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Doom or whatever.
That's right. It was based after his head, which they never explained
Yeah.
in there. The cartoon never explained why they chose his head as the that.
He had the money. He just said, "I'll build a base, but I'm making it. I'm modeling it after my head."
Well, I mean, the one chick, big chick in the bucket in this movie that never shows up is Henry Cavill, but he did film a cameo for this thing. They cut it after James Gunn's new DC universe was announced, and plans for his return in the franchise was canceled. That was all big. We knew about that. He was paid a combined $500,000, $500,000 for both that cameo, which never made it to air, and the one in Black Adam at the very end of Black Adam. So,
but we still got the Coliseum Time Chrono Bowl thing.
Was he in that? Because I never saw him in that.
I think they showed him for a second, didn't they? Yeah,
I didn't think they did. Did they?
There were so many things. Like you got to go back and watch it slow motion or something. Like you'll never notice Adam West if you're not really looking for him.
Yeah, he's
and
there.
you hear what's his face, Cesar Romero's laugh, Joker laugh.
Oh yeah,
I love the laughing bag. I love that.
Yeah,
nice
I got
nod.
questions about that bag. I don't think they had the rights to use, or it was too expensive to use Jack Nicholson's voice. So it's some other laugh, which is fine, but I kind of had questions about that.
Nobody got to say anything. They didn't make any jokes about this town needing an enema or nothing. I really was disappointed.
So this universe should have a Catwoman running around, right? Shouldn't Michelle Pfeiffer be running around?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, because there's like of all the bit characters that could be coming out, right? Like, so okay, so the plot is he went back in time to save his mother's life and have his mom still live. And he messed up the universe so bad that a bunch of people just don't become superheroes, right? Like, okay,
or get killed as babies,
or maybe haven't yet, right? Cyborg hasn't become,
but like that was just like making me wonder, like how far could that go? Like they said, ripples out all over into like, because he as someone who knows. Because he has knowledge of the future, right? He should have, when he was like looking through the phone book, right? He could have thought of anybody. He didn't have to just think of like the 4 major Justice League folks.
Sure.
Right.
Ooh, I found it.
He was brand loyal to JLA. Yeah,
I found it by the way.
Change things. Oh, you found?
Yeah, let's tell you real quick. The only time Cavill shows up in this, according to this breakdown of all the cameos, is the news scene before all the time changes, where he's stopping a volcano from erupting or something.
But no, you don't see his face ever.
No, you don't.
That's the cameo that they recorded.
That's as close as we get is him a far off fake shot of what is supposed to be.
So I just saw in the Chrono Bowl whatever I wanted to see, is what you're saying. Even though I'm telling you he was in there.
Yeah, I mean, according to this could be wrong, but
I do highly recommend, by the way, checking out Screen Crush, really fun YouTube channel. They do a good video all about the time travel as done in this movie, like the different types of time travel, how it can affect things, and what this movie tries to do. And that's what
can I say I like Screen Crush, but I swear if they don't stop doing the freaking 5-minute ads of the organic ads in the middle, I'm like,
dude gotta make money. Ryan Airy gotta make money like anybody else.
Yeah,
give it at the top or the bottom. Don't give it to me right in the middle of my salad.
Yeah, maybe don't give us the Factor Meals ads then in the middle of Film Sack, guys.
Yeah, hey now, gotta pay them bills, boy.
Exactly.
But here's a question for you, since you kind of reviewed this film, and I just couldn't have possibly caught everything. When he is going through his mental phone book and try to contact anyone else, is there even a mention of like Green Arrow or Black Canary?
You mean like where have we seen? We haven't seen them in.
Right, I get that you have like he's only going to reference things that we've seen, but I'm just asking, like, was there any like outside of?
Oh, it'd be so great if you could, right? Like, because he gets his name, The Flash, from his appearance in the TV show The Flash, where Gustin says, "Oh, you're like me. You're the Flash," and Ezra goes, "Oh, the Flash. I like that." And so, them getting to say that line for the first time and saying their name as the Flash in this film for the first time is pretty cool. Yeah. And that universe, the Berlanti verse, does have your Black Canary. I mean, has a ton of
they got all the secondary stuff. Yeah.
And across all of DC for all of time, right? There are lots and lots of Flash and Green Lantern collabs, right?
Sure.
And so he might at this point, Barry Allen might know Green Lantern. Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, Guns announced they have a Green Lantern, but they're going with Guy. What's the guy's last name? Guy.
Guy Gardner, and Nathan Fillion. Yeah,
yeah. Which I'm stoked about. I'm stoked about it, but it's all part of that Superman Legacy deal that they're doing, and everyone's getting recast for it. And I don't know if I could say if they could do anything here with this movie, it would be move that girl forward to play Supergirl in perpetuity. She's great. Yeah. Figure out how to get her.
You girl, Sasha.
I can't think of her name. Sasha Calle. Not sure you said
the problem is that Kara Zor-El as a character has just never been interesting to anybody. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can always just write new stories.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think she could be interesting if they explored the opposite, because Superman has always been like, I love the humans, I've got to take care of the humans, I'm here to protect the humans. I like the fact that she was tortured and hates the humans, and that Ezra Miller's younger Flash character kind of makes her make a turn. So she's trying to discover that. I would watch that story of her
it'd be fun to see.
Yeah,
but you'd have to move her from this universe to another one. Like, we'd still have to deal with this universe bullshit. Because she's in the wrong
character
one.
only gets two things in this movie. The character gets the revivification scene, which is awesome, where she's on the rooftop in the sunlight,
gets to recharge, and
she gets the beat down of General Zod scene. Which is also awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
that was pretty
there's
good.
Nothing else for that character in this movie, and it definitely leaves you wanting more.
I thought that fight with him probably better than the one in the Zack Snyder movie where Superman fights Zod.
Yeah.
It was more nuanced and interesting.
And I do really like also the, all right, that didn't work. Let's try this. Let's rewind time and try this attack. Oh, that didn't work either. All right, let's rewind time and try this one. That I think is a very interesting idea, and I like seeing that.
I loved how they portrayed that as he progressively. I mean, it was kind of telegraphed, like, oh, he is. He's the bad guy. He turns into the bad guy every time he returns. He gets injured a little bit more, and he starts adding things to himself. Okay.
And the first time he gets kicked out of the time area by some, the Chrono Ball. The first time the only time he saves his mom's life and then gets kicked out.
Right.
That there's like he gets kicked out by this terribly ugly gatekeeper. Right. And I said out loud, "Ooh, I wonder who that is."
Yeah.
That's the other Flash.
And I
knew it right away.
And I spent a good part of the movie thinking, okay, so that's going to be some Batman or some weird offshoot of something that's stuck in there, and kicked him out because it knows why. And then there was finally when younger Flash gets a freaking shard through his arm, I was like, oh, that's it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was such an awesome moment of realization.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, that guy, the been doing this forever and it's never going to work version of the Flash where he's all crusty and horrible.
Let me try again.
It reminds me, to me, that's that trope from Star Trek The Next Generation where all the Enterprises show up at once, and one of them shows a Riker who's just all disheveled and his beard is all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, just like this tortured soul that can never get it right. And I don't know.
Yeah. Go again. God, that's a trope, by the way. Trope alert of go again.
Big trope alert on that one right there. Yeah.
And I liked it. That trope worked for me.
Yeah, I did too. I liked it too.
Because it fit the character Barry Allen, especially the younger Barry Allen, just like convinced that he's going to fix it all.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Because he's naive, right? He's never suffered. I thought that was some really good character writing too, by the way. Just really good character acting and character writing.
Well, let's see what you think of this. I'm going to give you some writing, but it's in the form of some IMDb trivia. And you tell me whether you think this is good writing, because I have some serious scrutiny I would like to now share.
Scrutiny.
Here we go. There are two of these. Whoops, where'd the first one go? There it is. Michael Keaton's original Batman suit was infamously restrictive. We knew this. This forced him in the late 80s to move his entire body around to look anywhere. Right?
Yes.
For this movie,
please fight Joker. Please fight me in front of me because I can't turn my head to see you.
This is where it gets. I don't know if it's questionable or not, but it says for this movie, the costume designers created a more flexible suit that allowed for greater range of motion. But when Keaton first tried it on, he insisted it be made stiffer. He says, "I don't know if I love
that idea."
I don't know if I believe it. It's fine, but whatever. If he thought it didn't
I
look
don't
enough.
care. Sometimes things don't have to be true as long as they don't have an impact on any real world situations. They can just be funny.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Did we all enjoy alternate Barry coming up with Joker's laughing bag?
Yes, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, but there's no way that's Jack Nicholson. That would cost money. You don't want to spend for a gag like that. It's somebody else laughing, I think.
I'm down with it. I don't care.
The other one,
seeing the Batmobile again. I was so excited.
That was cool. I was happy to see. And then the music and hearing that score on top of things was cool.
If the Joker, like that Jack Nicholson Joker exists in this universe, then he wasn't in Witches of Eastwick with Michelle Pfeiffer, who is Catwoman.
Right.
Or what about Leah Thompson? If she was in Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz, did she do a movie called Howard the Duck? And does the Marvel movie exist in this timeline? Oh my God!
See,
my brain.
It's all movies and TV shows, though. That's the rule about this crossing all these streams. The spaghetti is all about television and TV adaptations of
heroes. What they could have done? They could have just had Halle Berry in her, she's in her 50s, right? They could have had Halle Berry holding a bowl of milk that Barry steals because he's always having to eat. Like, so she's just like hanging out. She's about to lick a bowl of milk. And he
many cameos we didn't get.
Yeah. I mean, at some point it's restrictive on a budget level, but that's where I want them. If you're going to do this, then go crazy with it. Just lose your minds. Yeah. And instead we got just enough. And then most of them were either dead or never really happened. And it's a little,
By the way,
the other one, by the way, is Henry Cavill it says here that Henry Cavill approved of the film and Sasha Cale's performance and portrayal of Supergirl. Why is that trivia? That's not trivia.
Yeah, no kidding.
It is trivial.
Job to approve it.
I'll give it. It's trivial.
He's like on Jimmy Kimmel. It's saying, I hereby approve.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's dumb. And especially knowing that guy.
Here's the Cavill stamp of approval.
I think you're confusing interesting with trivial.
Yeah.
I think that was trivial.
Very trivial. But also probably more like, he's a nice guy. He probably said, hey, I really liked her in that. And that was it.
Yeah. And then somebody translates that. Oh, he
approves.
He gave the thumbs up to her. Oh, he allowed it to happen.
He allowed it.
We haven't really even talked about the baby shower at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yes. The huge scene.
You had it in your intro, but
yes.
That aside, my only issue was I want my heroes to still be heroic and not feel like, all right, superheroism is a thankless job. You don't get the credit and the praise that you deserve for all the stuff you put in. But I want my Barry Allen to still feel, like a
rewarded.
Hero. Like I want him to feel like I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do, not, crap, I have to save a bunch of falling babies from a hospital. My life sucks.
Well, again, this Barry Allen is on the spectrum somewhere. And he's the kind of guy who is, like he's the Flash, but he's late for work. Like this is like really relatable. Again, to me, it's really relatable. And it felt like they were just towing the line of him being unhappy at saving the babies, but they didn't. I don't feel like they portrayed him as unhappy. Right. Like it was just like Barry Allen wants better relations with Batman, right? And so like he's like thinking about that kind of thing,
I feel like I didn't feel like he was complaining or whining, which his character does a lot. I didn't think he was whining once he actually got to do something heroic. He was whining when he was cleaning up Batman's mess and he was having to stop everything underneath the building. But once it moved into the baby thing, that's when it changed.
It was less, of course.
Yeah.
And it, it was basicly as fun as the Quicksilver stuff in the X-Men films.
My viewing partner, his biggest problem with this film was the slapstick. She said she did not care for that at all.
Oh, so like the dog at the end, which was so
I love
like,
that.
Yeah,
it was such a palate cleanser because like I still had tears all over my cheeks at the end of the movie. And this dog, I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
I don't think anyone's cried as much over removing a product from a grocery cart than I did during that scene. I was like, these cans are making me cry.
Yeah.
The
dog thing,
magic can.
The dog thing was great because the dog, that felt like the most gun thing in the movie, to be honest. The credits with the dog.
It did.
But that CG looked good.
Do you realize, Scott, that James Gunn is not in the credits?
No, I know. He's got nothing to do with it. He has nothing to do with any of it. That's why I'm saying it.
He should be on the credits.
Yeah, he shouldn't be there.
You've mentioned him a lot.
No, I'm just, well,
he's saying that it could be different. In another universe.
No, in the next universe. Like literally he's taking over. That's why I'm bringing him up.
That's what I said, in another universe.
Yeah. But okay, so here's the thing with that baby scene. Agree with what everybody said. It's impossible for me to ignore how bad those babies looked. It just is impossible.
How else are you going to portray the babies
with better CGI?
Let me tell you something about CGI babies. The more realistic you make them, the scarier they get. I want my CGI babies to be weird and like bubble gum.
That's the other problem. Is I don't have a good comparison. I can't think of another multi-baby CGI fest that I can compare it to. But
and like I say, and I'm just so forgiving of anything that happens in bullet time because like I just don't know. I can't imagine what that would look like. So I just don't. I don't put a lot of onus on how things look during all that.
Those babies look terrible. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for me, if it doesn't look good, it distracts me from the plot.
What didn't look okay? That's a good question. So I think me and Randy are fine with the visual look for whatever reason.
You know what they look like? They look like the dancing baby in the Ally McBeal.
So it looks like it looks like so to you it looks like the technology has not increased. It hasn't increased since. You know, Scott posted a really good Lawnmower Man comparison in the Discord server. So it looks like the Lawnmower Man to you. Okay.
Yeah, and it just distracted me from like, well,
I think you need to go back and watch the Lawnmower Man because I don't think it's as bad as that. But.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody, Brian. No, I mean, you know, we've come forward with some incredibly realistic looking, you know, CGI people that don't give me that weird uncanny valley thing, and those babies just felt so uncanny valley that it got really distracting and took me out of a scene that for everything else I actually kind of enjoyed. I don't know, is the slapstick the stuff like here's a knife that's slowly heading towards this baby and this baby's coming close to a jar of hospital acid for some reason. So this other baby is
would you guys say you maybe say you guys maybe have like a Roger Rabbit kind of thing, whereas like you don't like the two mediums mixed together sometimes don't quite work out for you because I mean these babies are no worse rendered than babies you've seen in Death Stranding or some video game where it's all rendered as video game
in 2010
as opposed to
in 2010
Right. So as opposed to, but since it's all one medium, it doesn't bother you as much. Whereas you mix media here, that maybe bothers you.
I mean,
more.
maybe I guess what I'm saying is I've seen better CG than this in movies.
Oh yeah, we've all seen better CG.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. I'm gonna take that back. We've all seen more realistic CG. I wouldn't necessarily say. I still feel like it's a stylized movie. I think they stylized from the beginning to the end. I don't have a problem with it if you stylize consistently throughout a film.
If it matches your world
across the Spider-Verse, that's stylizing.
That's super stylized.
Well, that's just style. That's consistently stylized, right?
Yeah.
This is not. If you have live action that clashes with a different stylized CG style, and you're mixing the two, those styles clash. I think
all I need is for there to be a distinction between when Barry Allen is speeding and when he's not. So like when he shows up to that hospital or whatever it was, there's a bunch of CG around the street falling and the building crumbling and so forth.
Right.
And it all looked fine to me. I mean, I wasn't perfect. I'm sure I could go find problems. Right. But
once again,
it looked good enough that I wasn't thinking, oh, this is some fake street crumbling, you know?
Yeah, in other words, like Randy is saying, the bad or what you guys call the bad CG, all happens within the speeding, right? It's all within speed vision, right? That's the only time we see that type of CG.
Yeah, now that you say it, I guess there's no times where, like, the CG, there was clearly CG when she was flying around punching dudes, and when she stopped that bullet and punched that guy from before it hit Batman. And those had their own cool style to them. They still looked a little wonky to me, a little Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2000 to me, but for the most part, they looked fine. So yeah, I guess you're right. It's when you slow stuff
but
down.
this is all opinion, right? So I mean, you didn't care for the taste of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't like the taste of it,
yeah.
I want to point out that I really enjoyed, and again, don't know much about the Flash, haven't seen much about the Flash. I really enjoyed that there is
much about the Flash.
Let's try not to sing it.
There is super speed, and super speed is denoted by blue lightning, and then there is speed zone, which is denoted by red lightning. And to go that fast, you have to be wearing the suit that you make from your powers, and I liked that. I liked that a lot.
They clarified that a little more in behind the scenes stuff, that that particular suit was supposed to have a different color because it dissipated the force energy, whatever you want to call it, the speed force energy differently or something. So
it was all the barnacles he would collect over the millennia that he tried to change the outcome. Is that just from all the fighting with Zod and constantly getting chunks of Zod people stuff in him?
Yes.
And by the end, he's just covered in it. Okay. All right.
That was the trope.
You're soaking in it.
The barnacles.
Zod.
Yeah. He was barnacled up like
he was
back by the end. He looked like he'd been stuck to the side of some old fishing boat or something.
Yeah.
So who killed Barry Allen's mom?
Oh, good question.
I mean, is it supposed to be part of the universe that we
movie
know?
on that too, and I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. All
right. For me, it's this.
Grab a bucket.
That's like one of the mysteries, right?
Yeah, there's no answer. I don't know if that was meant for like, hey, if this movie does well, we'll sequel it, and hey,
right. The TV says one thing. The TV version of the Flash,
the Grant
says
Gustin
one thing.
Flash. Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. I don't know. It's fine. The way the movie ended, it was like him and his goodbye to her was him acknowledging that, well, I don't think I can do anything. I'm going to have to let this go. And that's what's hard, is letting it go. But then I can also get my dad out of jail.
And can we please talk about Dad? Because I caught my breath when I realized that was Ron Livingston.
Ron Livingston! I haven't seen you. Where have you been, Ron?
I was just like, I almost passed out. I was holding my breath, realizing this is like such a perfect casting, like perfect.
Yeah, he's good for that. He played. He's been in tons of TV stuff, but
he's been in tons of stuff. I haven't seen it forever. He's never in any of the stuff that I watch.
Yeah, it's been a bit. It's like a lot of TV show stuff. He was in that Creepshow remake. I saw him in that.
Yeah.
What is it about Ron Livingston that is so so emotional? He's got this like ability to instantly have chemistry with whatever.
Right.
What is that? What is that like?
He's just he just comes across as so personable, like a little bit flawed, but genuinely who he is. He seems to be the kind of guy you see on screen, Office Space and stuff like that. I don't know. He just comes across as a very genuine dude, and I think that his characters reflect that and make you believe that, oh, all right, yeah, he's
right.
Do yourselves a favor if you ever get to see it. There's a show called Louder Milk that ran from 2017 to 2020. It was weird because it was an AT&T original back when AT&T had their own streaming service and no one watched it. It is so funny. It is so good. It's a comedy. Him, Will Sasso, a bunch of other people funny as hell. Oh, Brian Regan plays one of his friends.
Yeah.
It is a funny show, and it never got any sunlight because who watched AT&T Plus or whatever the hell it was?
Yeah, I watched that, and I watched, what was that? Wasn't there like a Stephen King detective kind of story too?
Oh yeah, same deal. Mr. Mercedes. That's a fantastic series.
Yeah.
So good. Oh my gosh, AT&T. I don't know where these are now. They may be streaming somewhere else, but Louder Milk is freaking amazing.
Well, I just want to I feel like Ron Livingston belongs on that list of genuinely nice people from Hollywood. There's this very short list of, if there was a famous actor that you passed on the street and you really needed a hug, Like you would like for that to be Keanu Reeves or Tom Hanks or Ryan Reynolds, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's just, it's a short list. There's not a lot of people. Like there's a lot of people you'd be like, I'm just gonna keep walking. But if it's like Paul Rudd, you're like, hey, come in, bring it in, buddy. You know what I mean? And like Ron Livingston belongs there for sure.
Right. He's great. I have a bunch of great clips, not like the haircut.
Yes, great clips.
Yeah, not like that. Because that'd be weird, right? We don't want that.
That would be really
right.
Yeah.
But I have some clips to play from the film The Flash, and let's go ahead and dive into them. Let's start with this one. This is Bruce talking early.
So you're saying you went back in time, like in Pizarro?
Yeah, like in Pizarro, except Pizarro was a second. This time I went back a whole day.
So let's imagine that it is in fact possible for you to run faster than the speed of light, and in so doing, travel back in time.
It throws me because he talks like different than he usually does.
Yeah, he does. Great. It's like almost like he's got Alfred's influence, seeing as Alfred raised him, a little bit of British cadence to the way he sings.
a little bit of. It's interesting.
Like that.
It'd be interesting to hear his process now. If
that is what the reason for it, I love it.
I don't mind Batfleck as I think he's a good Bruce Wayne. I don't like the suit. It's too chunky and flubby looking.
Yeah, this suit was weird that they had in this.
There's a little bit like this in the last few too.
Oh, sure. I 3D print you a Batman suit, and you're not happy.
No,
with it.
That thing's badass. That thing's.
I think a big part of it is that Ezra Miller is so skinny. Ezra Miller has a 26-inch waist, and like any even slightly normal human in a similar costume is just going to look huge.
Oh, you mean his? I meant Batman's, but yes, I think you're.
That's what I'm saying. Batman, any Batman. Like although George Clooney looked super skinny, I'm just saying like to Batfleck is just he's like a normal sized human standing next to a skinny rail.
Oh yeah, little tiny dude with a hairier chest than I expected. But
shocking amounts of hair.
Yeah,
absolutely added hair.
They must have. If they didn't, man, woo! I just would have. If you would have said, "Hey, what do you think Ezra Miller's got going on in the chest hair department?" I would have thought smooth as a baby's bum.
Smooth dolphin, yeah.
Because he's got that
we're
face.
Almost getting Baldwin levels there.
They've got this face that's like smooth and kind of a.
But very well shaved. You can see though that Ezra Miller could grow out a full beard. You can see it.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing I had in my head before I saw that chest, and then I went, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Oh, you are hairy.
Here's Barry and Burley.
Is that Barry? And he's Burley?
He's Barry and Burley. That was Ron
Barry
Livingston.
Burley. Oh, we haven't even really talked about Dairy Girls. Like his quote unquote friends / roommates in his other timeline.
Say Shuri, what's her name?
Then his couch buddy Gary.
Saoirse Monica Jackson.
She's great.
Yeah.
Love her, but she barely got any screen time. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Also, I want to mention his boss from what was the show that I recommended? Is Unforgotten. His boss is played by Sanjeev Bhaskar, who is one of the leads on Unforgotten and is amazing. And total chick in the bucket. We meet his boss one time, and then his boss just waits for him to come to work.
Oh yeah, poof. No more boss.
Steals his thunder at the press thing, and that's it. It's over. Then we get to see Iris West. Yay!
Yeah, yay.
Clemens.
That's the right word.
We didn't do anything with her fun. She just got to like, where you're going, Barry? Where are you going?
Yeah, she got to basically see a freshly cleaned apartment that quickly got uncleaned and part of it.
She used the trope of the love interest that provides absolutely nothing to anything at all.
Right.
Yeah. I like this character just doesn't even change anything that Barry Allen does. Like that was it was surprising to me that this character was in the movie, right? Because
she reprised her role from the Justice League. Yeah.
But she has no impact. There was one thing at the very, very beginning where she's like, I feel like we did have an interaction. I'm like, oh, that must be a reference to something I haven't seen.
Yeah. It was a reference to the Justice League because she met the Flash. Right. And so that was a reference to the fact that she recognized something familiar about her.
Yeah. She's Make-A-Wish Tessa Thompson for me.
Nice.
She's fine. She's fine.
Yeah, Kirstie Clemens is fine.
Yeah, she's fine.
If this movie had been 4 hours long, they could have developed a love story there where like there were some stakes and they, found at the end that, he had developed some kind of like ability to have a relationship.
They should have had the Snyder
they
cut.
explored it in the TV series a lot. So
yeah. But they should have this Snyder come in and do a cut of the movie easily 4 hours. You have no problem.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Everything would be bluish gray hue, and it'd be great.
Perfect. Here's a good one.
I have to shit.
All right, that's good. Gonna keep that for a while. I like this line.
This is mad trippy.
Okay, so this is his alter ego, younger character, or younger Barry Allen, and he's pretty great. Let's do Dumb Barry and his laugh. I hate that laugh.
Yeah, I do too.
That killed me.
They did everything they could to make young Barry unlikable,
abrasive,
and abrasive, and just unpleasant. And,
I guess that's the idea, but that laugh, man.
Well, because that's where you get your character development, right? Like old Barry develops an inch because that's all he's got to go, and then young Barry, boy, he goes.
My
through
mom's
all
still
of it.
alive. I'm not a dick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But look at Batman.
That's the
His
only
parents
difference.
died.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention. There's a record set when this movie happened. Michael Keaton. He's 71 at the time of the film's release. This makes him the oldest actor to play Batman in a live action or television series ever. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Ever to put the suit on. Now, there are some that beat him in animation. Adam West did it again when he was 88. He voiced Batman for the final time for Batman vs. Two-Face in 2017. It came out after he died. And then Olin Soul, who was 74 when he voiced Batman for the final and 7th season of Super Friends. So, anyway.
Nice.
Fun little trivia I forgot to read. I forgot what this is. I'll just play it.
We're fine. I'm fine.
Oh, there you go. That's how you remember to say, when you talk about Ezra Miller, you say they, because it's
We're fine.
Right. You're fine. That's why. Here's that laugh again. Makes me want to die.
What's going on for you there, Scott?
I hate it. I hate it. You don't tell me that you like hearing that. That's a thing you like to hear in your head, in your ears.
I don't know. I don't have the trauma that you have for some reason.
Someone throw me a bone here.
It's so hard. It is so hard.
Maybe we can go back in time and move some tomato cans for you, Scott. We'll see if
I guess
we can make it
That
better.
was the main thing that I did not like about young Barry was the not just he's younger, he's a little bit more loose, devil may care, whatever, but he at times just came across like an idiot.
You know what it is for me?
What
It's that laugh and that sound is just such a ripoff of Pauly Shore, and I kind of like got used to it a long time ago, like a really long time ago. Like it was part of my Pauly Shore laughing like that is like part of my childhood, and so I just don't have a
I don't know. Okay, for you maybe. I like Pauly Shore, so I can't say that that's why it bothered me because
I can't even
bother me at all because I knew it was intentionally supposed to be annoying, so it didn't bother me.
Well, that's true too, right? It's supposed to be annoying. It's not like he does it in real life. Here's General Zod coming up again.
My name is General Zod.
You should watch.
Now kneel before me.
You should watch. He's great in that first Superman thing. Henry Cavill. Randy, you should watch it.
I will.
Boba Fett shows up.
Hello.
Hello, Thomas Curry?
Yes.
Could I speak to Arthur? Is Arthur around?
You want to speak to my dog?
It's so weird hearing him.
Yeah,
I hear clones from the prequels every time that guy talks. It's so weird.
We'll speak to my daughter.
I just I wondered why it took. This was the first we're really getting of the alternate people, and I like my whole time I'm just like, wait, why is it Boba Fett? Like, why couldn't it have been Jason Momoa? But he just isn't.
Well, I think
Aquaman.
he's Aquaman's dad in the Aquaman movie, and he's married to the Atlantean lady. So that I think this is him reprising his role as Arthur Curry's father, but in this,
which is
timeline.
weird because in this case he never meets Aquaman's. I mean, never meets the mom, right? Yeah.
Right. I think he just knows. He just knows that she is or whatever. But I think that's the deal. I could be wrong because it's been forever. But I think he was Arthur's dad. He's the Earth dad.
Correct.
Right? Do I have that right? Okay.
Earth dad. Yes, Earth dad.
Or not Earth dad.
He's ground dad.
Mortal dad. Yeah, ground dad. Dry land dad.
Human dad.
Yeah. And in this case,
I guess the Atlanteans are still humans, but
yeah.
By the way, this movie had the umpteenth version of Aquaman is useless joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm sure it's in the TV tropes list for this movie. And every movie, every show, every episode of The Big Bang Theory, where we have to stop and all agree that Aquaman's useless. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a fun joke.
Yeah. Here's one. Here's Seychri, what's her name, doing the burp man. This is pretty good.
Batman.
I'm like, hey, move over, Dakota Fanning. This girl can do a real burp on camera. So
exactly, she doesn't need to have it added ADR.
Yeah,
Saoirse, by the way, or Saoirse, like
Saoirse. Yeah. Get shit from Claire.
That's how Saoirse Ronan explained it on Saturday Night Live.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right.
But what you explain, it makes me feel like you've also got some childhood damage. So
no, we get schooled. We get schooled by Claire all the time. She'll shit all over me on Discord if I get it wrong.
Oh, so much, yeah.
Here's some Barry.
Barry?
That's just dad berries. That's
Barry.
Dad berries.
I put all.
You didn't add an extra berry in there.
I should have put that final berry in there. I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah.
So
I liked Gary on the couch. That was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. Did you guys have a Gary on the couch in your 20s or college or anything?
Oh, yes, I did. My gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did, and I was never the Gary either.
Yeah.
So
you got married as a child, right? Like you didn't have a
child marriage.
You didn't have a
prearranged ceremony.
I mean, I was 23, but yeah, I was pretty young.
Like this all happens to people in their mid 20s and going into later 20s when they have roommates and when they have they'd have no fixed address. You're just like living on somebody's chair, you know?
Yeah. I sounds fun to have one, just to have a guy there.
Really?
I mean, only in a movie sense, I guess. It's like the Notting Hill roommate that was always half naked running around in his underwear.
Yeah.
Always thought it'd be fun to have a guy like that around, but in real life, there's no way that's fun.
Yeah, mine kept a clear bottle of Mountain Dew back when there were the glass bottles of Mountain Dew. A clear bottle that he would spit his chew.
Okay, that's bad.
And he'd keep it on the desk. Where I had to work, and it's just I don't want that.
That's horrible. Ugh.
It is. It was absolutely horrendous.
I'd want
Worst
to die.
thing ever. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of hot messes, here's the hot mess line.
It's a hot mess.
There you go. Little Batman there.
Mess.
It's a hot mess. I love that sound of that spaghetti. Don't know what they used, but it's good. There's no way this is Jack Nicholson, but here it is.
Check this out. This bag laughs. Can't you take anything seriously?
Because it's supposed to be those teeth, right? It's those teeth. From the movie Batman.
The bag of laugh, yeah. The
bag of teeth. And if that's the case, then that is
in the bag. It's just the bag that when you see dead Jack Nicholson on the pavement after falling off the building.
Yeah.
It's the thing that they pull out of his
laughing bag.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they. Oh,
I don't think they ever opened it up in Batman. Batman.
Oh, my memory is so raw on that. I don't remember now. I don't know. Maybe you're probably right. I thought they had a pair of chattering teeth that laughed.
No. It was a bag you could get at novelty shops that just had laughter. Like it would just.
I'm posting it in the. Here's the. There's the video.
Let's see. So there he is laying there. It might actually be him. Well, that is, I know, but
yeah, and he pulls it out of his jacket.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna reach in there. Pull it out.
He pulls it out of his jacket.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
All right, hurry up. Pull it out.
Scene goes on a lot longer than I remember.
Yeah.
You're right. It's just a bag. My memory. Oh my gosh, my memory is all wrong on that. You know what I picked? You know what it's from? Because earlier in the movie, aren't there chattering teeth that chase people around?
Yeah, they're chattering teeth and stuff. Yeah.
I have conflated that shit. Wow. All right, thank you for that. Here's I said hard to not feel something here, so I don't know what I meant, but I'll play it. I mean, that's full Danny Elfman right there, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah. Very cool. And then this.
I'm Batman.
That's cool.
I'm Batman.
Yeah. Very fan service.
Let's get nuts.
I'll allow it.
I like when Michael Keaton asks them how much he weighs. I like that throwback.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Everybody crowds into the elevator except Batman. He's like saying, well, hold on just a second.
That was great. That was great. Here's a big scrotum.
Big scrotum.
Big scrotum.
Big scrotum.
Big scrotum. Let's see. What's this?
That was the laughing sack, wasn't it? Oh.
Yeah, that was it. Not very big, though. Let's see. What's this? For the record? I don't know what this is.
For the record, I think this is insane.
Oh, it's the thing I play at the top of the show. Saving or sawing the cowl noise. That made me laugh out loud.
I did too. It was funny.
Yeah, that was great. Especially because everything prior to that was like a montage of really epic moments of building that suit, and then that was great. Well, I got some audio of when Ibbott went on a date. Now, this is not prom. This is just a date.
Oh.
Okay. Maybe you took her there. I don't know, but this was later, like just a follow up.
We'll see. I can't remember. We'll find out if it's one of the girls I took to prom. And
it was like you basically were just like, hey, that was fun. You want to go out again? She said, yeah.
Sure.
So you were going to a movie, and your date asked you what snacks she should get at the counter there for the movie, and you said,
"Let's get nuts."
And that was it.
Let's get nuts.
Nice.
There's a lot of build up for that.
It was a good amount, perfect amount of build-up. Well done.
All right. Why did they say this?
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party.
I hate it.
Let's
Why?
go party?
Why?
It was so that of that time, right? I suppose. I don't know.
Was it? Of this year? I guess so.
No, but it's not supposed to be modern. It's supposed to be how many years back in the past?
The Aqua song, not a reference to the Barbie movie. Yeah.
Come on, Barbie.
Who says "Come on, Barbie"? Is that Ezra Miller?
Because this isn't modern times. He goes back when the Flash is 18, right?
Oh,
so
right. So what it is now? Now I see it. That's him.
Got knocked out of the bowl.
That's Barry Allen 1 talking to Barry Allen 2.
Come on, Barbie.
Right.
Let's go party.
So that's young idiot Barry
party?
Allen. All right.
Yeah.
And finally,
it so happens to be released in the year when we had a big Barbie movie.
That's true. Here's Clooney.
What's wrong with you?
That's all I got of him. That's it for that.
Dude, him,
pretty much all we got of him.
him getting out of that Vision Mercedes Maybach, that car.
that
oh
car,
my
dude.
God. That when that car
beautiful.
pulled up, I was like, of course that's Batman. That has to be Batman. But he is the only actor who could pull off getting out of that car. Like, if it had been Christian Bale, I would have laughed out loud because he just doesn't look like the person who would choose that car.
Yeah, that was a Clooney car.
Very much.
Yeah.
Clooney car.
I was a set. My man, that car is really hot looking. Although I had a mechanic buddy last week tell me never buy Mercedes. They're terrible to work on. I don't know if that's still true or not, but he hates them. Can't stand them. Here is your. Oh, we're done there. Now the checklist. Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. Oh boy.
Oh no. Batman used to use as a trackball. Check. He absolutely does. I don't know if that was from the 80s movie or not, but when he started flipping that trackball, I was like, really? Is this like a
right? Because the Batcave has just been sitting around for 30 years, right? Like it's just like nothing's gone on down there. Right, like even the
old Griffin hardware.
yeah. This is like pre-gateway computers. Like,
yeah, like what the Bat OS probably just the first thing it should do is go. You have 14 updates. Freaking
right.
What are you doing? Young Barry would share his weed with you. Check. Yes. And finally, Zod's ships are still pretty rad. Check. I like them. They're like big nasty beetles and stuff. It's very Snyderverse, but I think those are cool.
Everybody enjoyed their Shawshank Redemption.
The Raquel Welch poster that
he vibrated through to get the beer. Yeah.
That was also a funny joke because he went next door to get someone else's beer.
Yeah,
right.
I love that,
and he brought it back all shaken up.
Yeah, and I will admit when he's carrying him through the door, the wall the first time, and he's vibrating like that, that's freaky as shit.
It's funny.
Yeah. That's one of the better effects on the movie, actually. All right, let's move on to these Star Trek connections. Don't know. I was going to try to guess some here, but I can't think of anyone who's been in Star Trek. So I'm sure Randy's got a list, and we can find out.
We don't. No, sorry. We have one distant connection, and that is a makeup artist named Mike Smithson. Worked on this movie and also worked on Star Trek 2009 doing makeup. This movie was made, shot almost entirely in England and Scotland. And that kind of gets you, right? So like a lot of the post-processing, all of the effects and stuff took place all around the world in studios that, haven't been working on Star Trek stuff.
Yeah. Well, smaller. I don't know why I expected more, but for some reason I thought this would be full of like at least backstage people.
Again, I've said it before. I can't believe Temuera Morrison has never been in a Star Trek thing. It just feels like he should. He feels like right for Star Trek.
Yeah, put some
Could be
stuff
that
on his head.
crossover guy between Star Trek and Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Put some makeup on his forehead. Done.
The other one is I always start anything with Michael Shannon. I always start like, okay, it's Michael Shannon. Wait a minute, Michael Shannon's never been in a Star Trek. It feels like he is all over it. Who is the Michael Shannon doppelganger in Star Trek? I don't know. I mean, it's in my brain though.
Maybe one day. I love that guy. I can kind of do no wrong for me. Where am I here? Oh, let's do the soundtrack grade. I'll give it a T for typical for this sort of stuff. The high notes for me were nostalgic notes of, some of that old Batman stuff and all that, but it was good, Yeah,
the new music was by Benjamin Wallfish. I really, really enjoyed that this movie starts with a Chicago song that is about a particular thing, and then in the middle of the movie uses a different Chicago song because we're now in a different universe to, and it's like very exciting. There's a fight. It's a fight scene.
Well, I picked up on 25 or 6 to 4. What was the other Chicago? How did I miss?
Every beginning of the movie is "If You Leave Me Now" by Chicago.
Oh yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And it's just like it's such a vibe. It's like such a particular feeling, and it's kind of like sad and like unhappy.
Yeah, it's very specific to that era, or an era we all remember, I should say, not in the movie necessarily. All right, let's move on to the social media post. I need you guys in 280 characters or less to sum this film up, and let's start with Randy.
The Flash. He keeps his items in a closet stash. He steals food without causing any crash. He burns his clothes, but his skin shows no ash. I'll bet he gets a nasty diaper rash. He misses running through folks by a lash. A better name would have been Mr. Dash, right? Right?
Mr. Dash.
Mr. Dash.
Yep, like the Incredibles. Yep.
Like the seasoning. Oh, that's Mrs. Dash.
Oh, well, you assume there's
He
a
could
significant
have
other.
married the seasoning lady.
That's true. Well, what would have been her married name, though?
Uncle Ben.
No, this is her married name. This is her married name.
Not
I don't know where you got that from, but I'll take it.
I mean, her maiden name. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What is Mrs. Dash's maiden
Uncle
name?
Ben.
Her maiden name was Miss Spice.
Yeah. Miss Spice.
Miss Spice.
Let's move on then to Brian Dunaway, please.
The Flash. I know a good DC superhero movie exists. I just have never experienced it. Hashtag mommy issues. Hashtag sadness. Can of tomatoes. Hashtag crying.
Oh, hashtag. Nicely done. Finally, Brian Ibbett.
The Flash. Chronological.
That's all you need.
That's it. That's all I got. That's what I wanted. I wanted short,
It's a
simple,
bowl.
Man,
chrono-illogical instead of chronological.
Your extra characters will carry over to your next month. So that's good.
I'll save it. Yeah. I get to use them later.
Yeah,
oh, awesome.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Remember that stupid thing they used to do with phones? Oh my gosh. I guess they still do. Some plans, I think.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah, they
those.
still tell you they charge.
Yep.
Why not?
Well, that sets us up nicely for the alternate titles. This movie was almost called Adobe Was Right to Discontinue Flash or Meet the Millers. Because there's two of them, see. Let's move on to the emails here. We got a couple of them, and I'm going to read them to you. So here's this one from Craig from Sydney. He sent it to filmsack@gmail.com. He says, "Hi, guys. Ridley versus Tony Scott. Tony was solid. Ridley does like putting shit in the air, though. Thanks, Craig."
You're not wrong, Craig.
I mean,
wow.
He's right. A lot of particulates in the air.
Yes.
In his movies.
Yeah.
Which, I think I like that.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
Especially in space stuff. Your ship's got all this dust and crap in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's an attention to the cinematography. I feel like that's like the big difference between them. Obviously, they made different kinds of movies, but like I always just felt like Ridley Scott really cares about how every little thing looks.
Yeah, I agree. Keaton wrote in. That's funny. His name's Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Sweet.
He says, "Hey, Stegosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Bambritor, and Rhinorex." I think is.
I'll take it.
Oh, gotcha. Wow. Like all the initials. Very good.
Very good. He says, "I just want to say I really enjoyed your episode on 65. It made the watching of that thoroughly mediocre movie worth it. I wanted to recommend another from this year in a similar vein. 2023 is The Last Voyage of the Demeter. 65 is to dinosaurs as Last Voyage is to vampires. A fairly interesting concept with muted execution, just like you guys did with 65. Instead of focusing on the movie, I spent most of Last Voyage thinking of the different ways I would have made it better. It might easily slot into Sacktober at some point because I'm not sure it will be in the theater much longer. It definitely does belong on some streaming service in their back catalog. Keep up the great work.
Not the only one to suggest this movie.
We talked about it so much in our discussion about movie reviewers and how much we pay attention, because that was our like, if this thing had gotten better reviews, would you want to see it? Kind of thing.
And this is the one that's based on just a chapter of
yes, it's the Dracula chapter before he comes to wherever he goes, not where he comes from, Transylvania, but then
it's I forget where that is, but it's just the bit on the boat where he
the bit on the boat.
Yep. I think it looks interesting. Stephen King really liked it, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I love Stephen King, so.
I like his writing, but do I like his taste in movies? I don't know.
And apparently, the captain of the boat is played by Davos Seaworth. I guess he can only
like
now play boat captains.
Yeah, I like that name.
I love that guy.
Awesome.
Gosh dang, he's cool. All right, Keaton, we'll look at it. One final thing. I got a quick text here from 801-471-0462 from Kendall, who says, "Hey, film." Okay, this is a weird text. I'm going to read it exactly the way it was written.
Why don't you read me anymore?
It says, "Hey, Film Sack hosts. The show is good. He come there is no new things." Kendall.
I love it. Thank you, Kendall.
Help me figure out what this means. So the part that's, I get the show is good. I got the hello host, but he come.
How come? It's misspelled.
Yeah, it's probably how. So let's say, how come there is no new things? ?
Is he saying that we don't have a new episode or something?
Don't know. I don't know.
Maybe we haven't seen a new movie in a while, and we just, obviously The Flash is like very new.
Good news. Good news, Kendall, if that's what you're saying. This is very new. Maybe that's what he means.
Oh, could be. Yeah.
I don't know. I pulled it out because I was just like, this is the oddest question, and I don't know quite how to parse it. I knew you guys would be able to help me. So we're going to assume this, Kendall. You mean new movies rather than back catalog stuff. Well, I couldn't have greater news for you today.
Yeah, I think he means no new episodes. Like he looked on a Saturday when we recorded a Sunday episode or something.
Oh, you know what? You're probably
looking
right.
for a new Film Sack episode.
Probably something boring like that.
Maybe Scott. Maybe not every email is meant to be read on the show. Like some people like. Did they actually like write this is not to be read on the show?
No, well, he just wrote this. I mean, that's normally if somebody said, "Hey, how come there's no episode today?" I would never read that on the show. But
hey, look,
because he wrote it all wrong.
I feel Kendall. I've written so many bad emails, and I went back and got a response for somebody, and then went and read my email. I'm like, what the hell was I saying? Good Lord.
Yeah,
was I awake when I typed this?
I sent an angry email to a company. It's a whole story I don't want to get into, but I sent one to him where I was trying to cancel something, and I wrote
cancel now, maybe.
I wrote it, and then I saved it and said, I'm not going to send this till I read it before I send it. So it's just a draft.
Nice.
So I wrote it when I was pissed, checked it the next day. Oh my Lord.
Oh Lord.
I had to alter about 50% of it.
Yeah.
Because I was so pissed at the time. There was no way I'm so glad I didn't send it in the form it was in.
A long time ago at a previous job, I had Outlook set up to only send and receive like every 10 minutes.
Right.
And so I would finish writing an email and it would sit in your outbox for a few minutes.
Right.
And the problem with that is if you want it to hurry up and go, you just send it anyway. You don't gain any time when you want someone to hurry up and get your message.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunate. Let's move on to that's it for that. Let's talk about Patreon real quick. So that's the primary way we keep the show afloat. And if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to do it for real. Patreon.com/filmsack. Now we got all these new people that signed up this week, and I want to mention them.
Oh, good.
Aaron Gomez, Brent Rudman, Seb, Duty Pie. That's pretty good.
Ooh, Duty Pie. I like that name.
Pie.
Yep.
It's my Duty Pie.
Tom O'Neill, Cheryl Vincent, Tony, Quantum Feline. We know Quantum Feline.
Oh, yeah.
Regular around this place. Anyway, it's so nice to have you all on there, and now you get to take advantage of all the cool benefits, like no commercials ever, pre-show content every week. We had a good one today. Monthly specials from our hosts. Got something coming up from
Brian. I'm doing it this next weekend. Is the hope. I was gonna do it this weekend, but that fell apart.
As long as it's in September, nobody cares. It's all good.
That's right.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. And, movie-related prints in the mail, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you want to read about it and find out whether this is for you or not, do so. Patreon.com/FilmSack. And a huge thanks to everyone who is already supporting us. Our next movie will be, I don't know. I didn't write it down. What are we doing?
Oh, we're going to watch the last one. We're going to watch The Bourne Ultimatum next week.
Ooh. Are you sure we didn't see that? Okay, I'm down with it. All right. Yeah.
We probably...
believe it or not, we've only seen 2 Bourne movies.
Impossible.
And we're going to finish this up.
Oh, good news.
You've already found the one you're going to do, huh?
Might channel some Sade for this one.
That's great. Look, the good news is this. Hold on.
The Bourne Ultimatum.
Because that got pushed around, Fletcher did this a while ago, so I already have his clip.
So we're not going to get any
The Bourne Ultimatum.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'll do it just for fun.
The Flash Art.
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that'll be next week. The Bourne Ultimatum. Be ready for us, and we'll be ready for you. Filmsack.com is our website. You can always go there and find all the stuff we've talked about, and you can leave us reviews wherever you get your shows. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Brian, and for Randy.
I know sex exists.
We'll see you next time.
Get more at frogpants.com.
It's a hot mess.
Yeah.
Ooh, hot mess.
Yeah.